Is a technique deal. The name of the game in docking is to get the boat safely against the dock without hurting anybody, without damaging the boat. If that means you pull up close, somebody safely steps off, or you throw a dock line to somebody, pull the boat in, that's fine. If you grab it with a boat hook, pull the boat in, that's fine. What we're going to talk about now is the full capability of the boat to bring the boat up to the dock and park it. We'll start off with parallel docking. In a no wind situation, I'm going to spend a lot of time in neutral, get the boat in a position of about 20 to 40 degrees angle on the dock, put the boat in gear, back in neutral, in gear, back in neutral. At some point when you may want to back up, which is fine if you want to, but probably what you need to do is turn the wheel away from the dock and drop it in gear and then put it back in neutral. The boat will start drifting around like this, coming back in. At some point, you're going to decide which way you want the back end to go to reverse, turn the motor in that direction, and hit reverse until the boat rests against the dock. Okay? Now it's time to get away from the dock. We untie the lines, either push the nose out by that distance to get away from the dock, or push the stern out by the distance to get away from the dock and drive away. Okay? Now we'll throw wind into the situation. The easiest docking in the world is with the wind blowing towards the dock. In this situation, come in at a much shallower angle, stop the boat at some point and let the wind blow in. But realize at some point you are committed. There's no way to get away from the dock. If things don't look good, you're going to the dock anyway. Stop your boat and do the best you can to get against the dock. Okay? Also now when it's time to get away from the dock, we got a problem because you push the nose out and the wind says, why don't you stay right there? Push the stern out. The wind says, why don't you scratch the front of the boat? It can be very difficult to get away from the dock. Maybe we will use the spring line to power the boat away from the dock. Okay? That is why if I have my choice, I will dock the boat into the wind every time. It can be very difficult. It can make you look a little silly out there, but if all goes bad, where's the boat going? Right away from the dock to try it again. So I'm going to come in at a little steeper angle with a little more momentum on the boat to have a little more aggressive forward turn away from the dock and have the boat coming in. This is one time when the stern can be coming at the dock pretty quickly. You wouldn't want to reverse in this direction. You'd want to reverse straight back or a little bit away. And hopefully you catch the momentum and the boat stops right there. If it doesn't, you go away and get to try it again. One thing that can happen in this situation is you can get yourself in what's called a pivot walk. You're 5 or 6 feet from the dock. You try to go forward pivot point, go. That didn't work. Try to go back. That didn't work. And you can find yourself just sitting there doing a pivot walk going nowhere. If that happens to you, do yourself a favor, back up far enough where you're actually driving the boat again to try it again. Okay, now as you're tied up, it's time to get away. Untie the lines and away the boat goes. So that's my preference, just because you're not committed to going in. But the wind is never here or here or here. It's always some other direction. So you just got to think about what the total summation of what the boat is being told to do. If I'm docking in like this, I'm going to have to do my turn away from the dock a little quicker, and maybe here my term stop the boat. Hold it right there, don't let it turn, don't go forward back, and it'll walk right to the dock. The next time if I come in, if the wind happens to be straight on my nose, straight on the bow of the boat, it's no problem until we do our little turn away and then the boat wants to go away. So you're going to have to straighten it out and drive it more, let it drift into the dock. Okay? So we always want to know where the wind is, how it's affecting it. A bad situation and one to avoid is any time the wind is on the stern of the boat. There is no steer without gear. When you're in gear, you're accelerating. The wind is displacing you. You can find yourself going uncomfortably fast down the dock. In that situation, I recommend going past where you want to dock, and because of the reversing into the wind stability, back the boat into the last portion of it. But try to avoid downwind dockings. Okay? We'll do several of those on either side of the boat to practice that. Then we come to the challenge round, and that is bringing the boat into a slip. In a no wind situation, it is very common to overshoot the dock. We come in towards the dock, start to turn like a car, but because our pivot point is already here, the boat turns like this and you go, whoa, 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 what's going on? You have to drive the boat back in. If you get yourself into that situation, think of your reverse pivot point. Wheel first, turn it around, put it in reverse, and the back end will pull around, and you have a much better angle for driving in. At some point, I want this to look just like this. You just have a restriction on either side. You're going to come in here, do a little forward turn away, think which way you want to back up from the back end to go in your reverse, and reverse the boat. Okay? Now, if you have any degree of undershooting, overshooting, or an undershooting wind, either way, you're going to have to make your adjustment for time in and realize at some point the wind owns you. If you're coming in here, you're going to use a little turn away, and hopefully you can make your little turns in here, but at some point the wind owns you. You're going over here, you may have to back out. An overshooting wind can even be more difficult because you have momentum of the boat slinging you off to the side and the wind's catching you. You come in, make a turn, you think you got it, the wind catches you, and then you're down here. You may have to start from that downwind like we talked about earlier, use a little momentum turn to catch it going in there, but at some point again the wind owns you. So you always got to be aware of the wind is. You got several indications of the wind. You got flags, you got ripples on the water, but what I always like is my face. I can always feel that wind. So when I'm starting into the docking phase, I feel where the wind is and know what the displacement's going to be, what the rotation is going to be, and always be conscious of the wind. But we will try those and make sure that you get proficient on those.